There is a lot of potential in the women's roster to fill the void of Naomi and become the next women's championship. In this video, we're going to break down some of the ladies on the main roster that could fill that void and who should be the next champion. My name is Sancho West, and welcome to Sancho West Wrestling, where I talk about all things I love about wrestling. This is one of my favorite type of videos where we just look at the roster and kind of have fun. We'll see what's most likely and what's the wildest dreams. Let's go ahead and break down the roster. If you missed why Naomi has to vacate the title, just to go ahead and catch you up to speed, she announced that she's pregnant, and Naomi and Big Jim are going to have a kid, and that means the bloodline continues. So in this video, like I mentioned, we're going to break this down. This is the first time here we have these different categories for the women's champion. Nope, a dream pick, a wild card, a safe pick, and what I think is going to be the world champion. So let's go ahead and look at the current main roster here that we have for the ladies on Raw and SmackDown. Now, Stephanie VACATES was going to have a match with Naomi at Clash, but of course, that's not going to happen. I would say picking Stephanie VACATES would be the safe pick. If ultimately I think Naomi would have beaten Stephanie VACATES through shenanigans, through a heel nefarious ways. They were kind of booking Naomi as if she was going to steal the belt, as always, like she did recently in her triple threat. So I think that kind of trend continues, and she would have stole the chance away from Stephanie VACATES for beating Naomi. But I think if they were, the WWE decided to put the belt on Stephanie VACATES, that would be a safe pick in this scenario, considering that she was up to face Naomi at Clash. But the only downside of having Stephanie VACATES is like it would be strapping the rocket onto her a little bit too early. I know there's a lot of excitement for her, but I feel like putting the belt on Julia was a little bit early for the United States title, and Julia hasn't even done anything with the United States title. So imagine what happens if you put the belt on Stephanie VACATES. Immediately, you're going to want Rhea Ripley to kind of, it's just going to be so confusing, especially if she has to go up against the EO Skies or Rhea Ripley. You cannot see Stephanie VACATES having successful defenses against the big guns. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Secret Hervis. I'm going to go ahead and respectfully put this in nope. I think Alba Fire and Piper Niven, they are better suited to serve with Chelsea Green. I absolutely like Chelsea Green. In fact, Chelsea Green as well. I'm going to put this as a dream. I know Chelsea Green wasn't the best United States champion. I know she was the first ever. I think that is not her fault. The booking really just did a disservice, no pun intended, to Chelsea Green's run, getting that immediate feud with Michin, not having any kind of substantial feuds after that. Just look what they did with the IC title. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch were able to elevate that title to new heights, putting a legacy big name like Becky Lynch in the fray. Did some great things. I thought Chelsea Green would definitely needed like a Jordan Grace to be able to have those kind of big matches, the big feel, but unfortunately Chelsea Green never got those feuds to kind of elevate the title. And then when you have Chelsea Green and Zelina, and then Zelina beats Chelsea Green, not a good thing going for that United States title, considering that now it's trapped with Julia and there's nothing happening with Julia. But it would be a dream scenario for Chelsea Green to be the women's championship. I think Chelsea Green becoming champion would actually elevate Alba Fire and Piper Niven to a much more scary faction, and they add a little bit more bite to their bark. I think that would be fantastic for the Secret Hervis. Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte, I'm definitely going to put both of them in wild cards. I think what a monkey's paw situation. The WWE definitely wanted to make Charlotte Flair a face, and they decided to add Alexa Bliss to the mix, and they're actually doing some great strides in that. They are making improvements and progression in that mission. However, because they're busy doing that mission, now that there's a vacated title, I'm sure the WWE wish they could give it to Charlotte Flair. Yes, if Charlotte Flair all of a sudden became elevated and became another champion again, I mean, dare I say, getting closer and closer to John Cena's record, because she's a 14-time champion. If they did that, she would be a heel, and I would be amiss if they broke up Alexa Bliss over Charlotte Flair. But it would be an interesting story if Charlotte Flair had this lingering kind of calling for that bigger gold. Like, is this, it would diminish the value of the tag team titles, sure, but Charlotte being egged on to go after that gold would be an interesting story and a new wrinkle to the kind of the vibe that they're building between Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Alexa would be a cool champion. She's been missing from the title picture for a long time, but as you know, because these ladies are building up the tag team division, which is seemingly a very difficult thing to do, it's a bummer that they cannot go for this vacated title. It's a lot of tag teams here. The Kabuki Warriors, I'm going to also put as a dream for Asuka, and I'm going to put a note for Kairi Sane. I think Asuka becoming a champion once again would be an awesome dream. I think Asuka could definitely deserve another final run. Every time Asuka was a champion, it feels like the WWE was off kilter. I mean, especially during the pandemic days where Asuka was seemingly took over actually Becky Lynch. So it's an interesting thing that we have this kind of repeat in history where Asuka could take over the vacated title for another wrestler announcing that they're pregnant. But I don't know here. I feel that what Asuka came back and lost in the Queen of the Ring so easily against Jade Cargill, I think that hurt a lot of Asuka's stock, considering that she did come back and had a strong run leading up to that point, and there was a lot of hype for Asuka's return. I think they're kind of dead set on having a program with Io Sky and running that again. She's becoming the new justified heel in Triple H's trope book. So that's going to definitely hurt her chances for becoming a champion. Now, if they want to put a heel champion into that role to kind of fulfill Naomi's heel championship, then Asuka would serve really, really nicely alongside with Kairi Sane. We'll see what's happening here, but it seems as though, again, they're involved with the program with Io and Rhea. B-Fab, I think B-Fab has a lot to work to do. I like B-Fab. She's a great project in process right now. She did show some signs in that match with Charlotte Flair a long time ago in singles, but unfortunately, them trying to build up Michin and B-Fab did not work out. I think Michin and B-Fab not being a strong tag team kind of hurt their stock together when they weren't having ring time as a tag team. So seeing her, B-Fab, in the main event picture as a champion would be a kind of a nope situation, but that's not simply saying that B-Fab doesn't have the talent to get there for sure. It's just more of like the last booking or the last note they left with B-Fab and Michin really hurt their stocks. So I want to put that note. Now, Bayley is an interesting thing. Honestly, Bayley would be a safe pick to become the world champion. Bayley already teasing a heel change or a heel turn here. So you have that vignette where she's healing voices. You literally healing the voices that she is turning back into her Karen self, ding dong ways. And if you missed out on Thunderdome Bayley, it's one of the best heel runs that she had in her. And it's actually fun to see what Michael Cole will do with this Bayley character. I do feel that Bayley as a heel at the time was like, oh, well, they already have Naomi, they have Nia Jax's heel. I think if Bayley was added to the heel roster, it would get lost in the sauce because Bayley doesn't have that much going for her. But if this is the play they do, they knew ahead of time that Naomi was going to be out of action with this pregnancy, and they were like, let's start turning Bayley heel, this might work out. I think the only moment that I saw a little bit of light for the Bayley fans out there is that when Bayley had this temptation to join her other 4 horsewomen and Becky Lynch, and I thought, wow, that would have been very interesting if they actually pulled the trigger there. And I'm sure they thought about doing it at SummerSlam, but it would have been nice to see Bayley to do that. Bianca Belair, I would say this would be a dream scenario, considering that Bianca Belair, is currently coming off a finger injury, and I've dealt with a finger injury, and I brought this up in the previous videos. It is not an easy injury to recover from. There's a lot of PT and personal training to get back to it. There's a lot of tedious tasks you have to do. When I broke my finger, it was my middle finger. I broke it in half in this way. You have to unscrew things and rescrew things. So, in considering that you do a lot of things with your hands, it just takes a long time to recover and to get that full flexibility. It's amazing how much your fingers rely on such a tactile feeling. So Bianca Belair could be still out of action for a very, very long time. Last time we saw her when she was a special guest referee, she still had it bandaged up. It would be awesome to see Bianca Belair return to light, and this would give another oomph of energy into the Jade Cargill vortex. Candice LeRae. Oh my goodness, Candice LeRae, another great character that's been put into DIY, into the trios like B-Fab being put with Street Profits. I want to put this as a note. Man, when Candice LeRae turned heel against Indy Hartwell, I thought there were some moments of awesomeness there. They kind of springboarded that entire situation with such a unique way. I was like, really cool heel thing to do, to scold someone, to burn somebody, to roast someone to the point of submission. And I thought this was great that Candice LeRae can actually find some light. And unfortunately, that petered out to do anything. Now she's back to serving the DIY storyline alongside with Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. So I'm going to put this as a nope situation, but it would have been like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I definitely would have put in the wild card. Julia, I think Julia would be a dream situation. It's, again, another bummer situation when you've already used up a championship gold card on the United States title. I think if Julia did not have the United States title, she would have been a dream champion. But because she has that United States title and they are building up with Kiana James, they're building up with Tiffany Stratton, and now they're Michin, that type of kind of bubble is kind of brewing. I think you're going to have to put Julia in note, but she would have been a fantastic dream women's champion. Ivy Nile, I'm going to put this as a wild card. And the only reason I'm going to put this as a wild card, and I know I am out there. I am in the stratosphere, an orbit land right now. But if Ivy Nile allegedly becomes Grande Americana, that will make this a wild card situation. If the WWE is willing to dump everything into the Americanoverse and add a women's roster, Grande Americana, that will be huge. And I think that would add so much momentum to whatever happened at Triple Mania, where the Grande Americano has been creating the Americanos and all that great lineage of family. I think if you want to lean into that a lot harder to kind of go off the beaten path, because if Naomi's going to be gone for a year plus, we could also restart all that later with Jade Cargill. If you want to take a quick detour into something fun, put Grande Americana into the championship picture. Jade Cargill, I think this is going to be I want to put a wild card situation for Jade Cargill. I would have put safe, but I feel like because the WWE did not put the belt on Jade Cargill at the moment that they had at SummerSlam against Tiffany Stratton, because they didn't put that on there, I feel like the WWE feels like it's a risk to do this. So I think it's a wild card play to make Jade Cargill champion. It would be a safe if Jade Cargill was a little bit further along her progression, but I do feel that I could only based on how the WWE is booking her. And I predicted that she would win at SummerSlam. I thought she'd be ready for the belt. I thought she'd be able to learn by having the belt and elevate herself, like rise to the occasion to being a champion, get her promos a little bit right, a little bit more polished. But unfortunately, the WWE didn't see that as well. So if the WWE wants to, kind of retcon that entire situation, and restart that, maybe they make her champion, but I still think it's a wild card play for them to do that. Next up, Roxy Perez. I'm going to put this as a dream scenario, teetering between dream and wild card. I like Roxy Perez. She's been having some great matches with Io Sky. She had a great match at Triple Mania in her mixed tag match. I think Roxy could do some great things. Roxy was a great NXT champion, and I'm surprisingly so that NXT, Roxy, I thought would never work on the main roster, but it has worked. Roxy's really good, and I like her in-ring and the fact that she's a little bit of a submission kind of angle artist that she picks on a limb. I like that a lot. And I think Roxy, with the help of Raquel, would kind of add a little bit to the fire of Liv Morgan. I've always felt that Liv Morgan needs to return back into a better home than the one she once left, so she could feel like she's a lesser of herself. And I think if Roxy could elevate herself to championship, that would add something and a little bit more fire to the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour Part 2. Natalya. I'm going to put Natalya as a wild card. And the only reason why I'm going to put this as a wild card is if she has her second gimmick come out. The one that she's been using in the indies that we got a little taste of at Triple Mania. And that's Natty Neidhart, aka the low-key legend. More of a shoot style wrestler. I like that presentation for Natalya. I like the way I'm attracted to it. The magnetism it has as a shoot wrestler in a women's division. I know we've had this before. This time again, we had Ronda Rousey, we had Shayna Baszler, but something of Natalya being able to harness that pro wrestler background, that wrestling background, the Stu Hart, the Hart Dungeon, all that, and kind of put this together. And she created a fantastic GCW character. If you ever want to see her matches, Natty Neidhart is really solid, and I get these like Kurt Angle vibes. I'm not talking about as the tippity top as Kurt Angle. I'm just talking about like a character that could break your bones and put you and submit you, and it will kind of reestablish the sharpshooter as a great finisher. I like the idea of Natty Neidhart putting the rocket on her, let her carry the torch so she could be a big bad for a little bit, because we're only talking about a year rental here. 6 months tops. Natty Neidhart will look great. Nia Jax. I'm going to put Nia Jax in a safe pick. It's not a fun pick. It's a boring pick in my opinion. Nia Jax is in a weird spot. Nia Jax is a great heel, but I think people are tired of the Nia Jax journey. I think Nia Jax being inserted back in the Tiffany Stratton kind of feud, it's inducing groans type of thing, because we thought that Tiffany Stratton has slayed the beast of Nia Jax, and she did it in a great match, but unfortunately Nia Jax is not going away. She's a monster that just refuses to go, and in this situation, to see Nia Jax carry the belt on the other brand, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if I could buy that. It would open up the door for Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill, which that moment they had at Jade's debut at the Royal Rumble was really great. Created a lot of buzz, a lot of hype, great pop for throwing out Nia Jax. If they want to revisit that as this a monster of a week or for the year, I'm fine with that, if as long as it ends with Jade Cargill as champion. Michin, like I mentioned, her stock is low. I'm going to put respectfully in the note, considering that Michin right now is going after the United States title. I think that's the perfect place for Michin. I like the idea of feuding with Kiana James and Julia. I think Julia and Michin could actually have a good strong style match, and I think their matches would slowly build up the buzz of the United States title. I think Michin could have easily beaten Chelsea Green earlier just to create a little hot potato. I think when Chelsea Green came out with her State of her Union segment, did not really hit that hard. The idea of Michin beating Chelsea Green did really well in that dumpster match. So Michin could have been a champion a little bit earlier in terms of the United States. Maxine Dupree. I like Maxine. Maxine Dupree has grown a lot. She's gone from someone who everyone pops from a suplex to now she could string together a lot of a move set in the ring, and her Royal Rumble segments are really nice. I really did enjoy Becky Lynch versus Maxine. There's always that thing that Maxine has, is that she is the vanilla babyface that will get the most sympathy from being beaten down from any heel. For her to be champion, it'd be a lot to add to it. I mean, Natalya would have to be someone that's going to be in her corner. Think like an Arn Anderson type of situation. Not that Natalya's that old, but if she could be a mentor coach like Chad Gable, Master Gable was going to be, and Natalya could capture that, then maybe we could see Maxine as champion, like a puppet champion, until Natalya says, hey, I'm sick of you, and let me take over and reveal who's been the champion the entire time. Maybe. Rhea Ripley, we're going to say, is definitely the biggest safe choice that they can do. I don't think anybody would be mad if Naomi, next champion, would be Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley, I feel, has been needing to become a champion again. The momentum of Rhea Ripley is she gets a lot of great pops. She does do challenges. She is a walking Money in the Bank, as my co-host Santi Zap like to call her. She could get the belt title, a title shot anytime, any place, anywhere, no matter what. But what needs to happen is Rhea Ripley needs to start winning. Rhea Ripley needs to actually deliver on her promises. She keeps challenging and she keeps losing. Yes, she keeps getting screwed out in some ways, but at the end of the day, and you look at the history books, you're going to see an L right next to that match at WrestleMania. You're going to see an L right next to that match at Evolution. You're going to see an L right next to that match at SummerSlam. So I think if it's a safe pick, then Rhea Ripley, bona fide star, dude. You're not going to be upset at that. Only I would see the IWC, the internet wrestling community, would be upset at that pick, and the people, we would groan at it, but at the same time, it's Rhea freaking Ripley. Raquel Rodriguez, I'm going to put this as a wild card. I think Raquel Rodriguez is probably bona fide the most improved wrestler, the superstar on the WWE roster. Raquel Rodriguez has made some great strides herself as an in-ring worker ever since Kevin Nash has kind of critiqued her and said she needs to work bigger. She has worked bigger, and the moment that she had a Triple Mania, beating Lola Vice for Judgment Day, get that Monster Tejana Bomb in Mexico City. I absolutely love Raquel Rodriguez. I put a lot of stock in Raquel Rodriguez as a fan. I am invested in it, and I do see the prospect of Raquel Rodriguez being a world champion. So I'm definitely going to put this as a wild card, but you have to add that to like a Roxy type of situation where Roxy would have to help Raquel get there, and it would be the same thing when Liv Morgan returns, and then Raquel now has to choose between the person that gave her the belt with Roxy or her old friend Liv Morgan. I think that'll be a great storyline to explore. Oh boy, Zelina Vega. I like this as a situation as a dream pick. I think Zelina Vega's United States run has nothing to do with the character and nothing to do with the talent behind the belt. Zelina Vega did everything that she can with the things that she was given. The only thing she was not given was mic time. In a previous video, I mentioned 29 superstars, what they need the most. And Zelina Vega needs two things. She needs more mic time and she needs a new theme. I think Zelina Vega could be an interesting world champion. If you even paired her with Andrade, I know a lot of people seem to go, brother, when they kind of, let's say like Zelina should go back to Andrade. Well, maybe Zelina should go back to Andrade with Zelina being the main focus. I don't know. I know Zelina is a better champion than her last United States title run. There's more in the tank for Zelina Vega. Now hear me out before you say Tiffy's already champion. This would be a wild card situation. Seemingly so, the WWE is done putting Becky two belts, Tiffy 2 belts. I kind of like this. If this could lead into like a bleed, like, how they were telling to Cody Rhodes, like, hey, that belt would change you. The championship changes you. I've been there, as Punk would say. I think if it changes Tiffany Stratton to a heel, that's a W. Like I mentioned, this is only a year. There's no like strong commitments to this year run, because essentially when Naomi comes back, she's going to win the Royal Rumble whenever she comes back, and she's winning at Mania. All right. That's what's going to happen. She's going to win at Mania with a kid at ringside. So Tiffany Stratton could be the one that holds it down. And if it's going to be a Tiffany Stratton as a heel, fine. If Tiffany loses one, fine. Let's put a workhorse title on Tiffany Stratton. Let's get the most we can out of Tiffany Stratton. And I think we need to have her wrestle and get away from Nia Jax. If that requires sacrificing the belt, sure, I'm in. Io Sky. Io Sky is another safe pick. As you can see, the safe picks, you know, they're former champions, things like that. But Io Sky would be the definitely safe pick, and this would be another retcon situation for the WWE where they go, oops, we kind of messed up the first reign after Mania and Io Sky did nothing, so why don't we just let's re-put the belt on her, let's put the belt on her here and see if we can establish that. And like literally as a non-champion, she's had banger matches with Roxy and Raquel. She's had so many matches on the main roster that she had more than she ever has as a champion. So let's kind of revamp that. Let's redo this. Let's get her away from Rhea Ripley as much as possible. If you want to put her in the Asuka Kairi kind of vortex, sure, that's fine. But I think this would be a great opportunity to redo Io Sky a la Cody Rhodes and John Cena redid a Mania with SummerSlam. Now here's my wild card. Here's my dream situation here. Sol Ruca. Hear me out. We don't know how the WWE is going to get up to face whatever Stephanie VACATES would be. If you're going to put the belt on Stephanie VACATES, get Sol Ruca to at least win whatever stipulation is, gauntlet, battle royale, ladder match, whatever it takes to be the number one contender alongside, or number two contender in this situation with Stephanie VACATES. Imagine a match between Sol Ruca and Stephanie VACATES. I think that would be a great way to have Stephanie VACATES look strong, keep Sol Ruca looking strong, introduce her to the main roster, introduce her to a PLE wider audience, and that will be a great kind of debut in Paris and Clash. It'll be awesome for Sol Ruca and Stephanie VACATES. It'd be a dream thing to put her in that championship match. Next, Liv Morgan. This is an ultimate wild card if I ever seen one. Reason being, they said that she'd be gone for like 10 months from her shoulder injury. And so interesting, it was just a seemingly innocent looking shoulder spot that happened between Kairi Sane and Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan's out forever. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this. I mean, the WWE has been surprising a lot of people with like injuries that saying it's going to take forever and they should come back sooner. Like, I mean, I know it's been happening a lot recently, and I know the Seth Rollins things was at work, but you know, look at John Cena in 2008, right? Who knows? Liv Morgan could make a comeback, and Liv Morgan could be the one that regains the championship. I feel that even Liv Morgan's championship was on ice because it was like we're gonna have to wait for Rhea Ripley to come back from her shoulder injury that happened in Philly, and we're gonna wait for that to happen to get Liv Morgan back in the ring. I wish they gave Liv Morgan lots of matches. I think that's the one that stands out the most that I kind of cling on to the most is Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega. I wish they kind of kept doing that when Zelina Vega called her sloppy seconds. I love that feud, and they just dumped it off the wayside. Yo, if this is a hear me out than I ever heard one, hear me out. This is a dream situation, okay? The reason why I'm writing this as a dream situation is the common saying in the wrong wrestling circles is how can you make a heel faction get heat? How can you build them up really quickly? And that's put a lot of gold on them. Wyatt Six already had the tag team championships. Why not give them a women's championship? And why not give Nikki Cross something to do? Nikki Cross is a cool character, right? The spooky witch in the background. Like, we always love this idea of, I guess, I don't know which their character is. I always confuse them. Like, is that Sister Abigail? For the longest time, I wish Sister Abigail was a thing, especially when Bray Wyatt was in his heyday. But Nikki Cross would be a great champion because the Wyatt Six would be a great championship faction. I think if you need to get the women's division involved with Nikki Cross and the Wyatt Six, and why not do it in the top of ways as a champion? It's an easy way to build up a lot of baby faces to chase her, and they can't seem to beat her because she has this little supernatural element. And at the same time, they'll build up Nikki Cross to be a dangerous element as a heel with the supernatural. Last but not least, Lyra Valkyria. I think Lyra would be a safe pick. I know Lyra has an IC title and was only elevated with Becky Lynch. She's a great worker. Her promos need a lot of work. I think she's definitely ahead of the Jade Cargill in terms of presentation and promo and work and things of that sort. Like, she is the complete, like a better complete package than a Jade Cargill. The only thing she's missing is the it factor of a Jade Cargill. I think Lyra Valkyria, I enjoy watching her in the ring. She has these moments where she does move differently. She doesn't move differently. Her impact is harder and things like that. You're like, oh, okay. I see Lyra Valkyria. I see the Bird Lady doing some things, but I do feel that if they WWE wanted to put Lyra Valkyria versus Stephanie VACATES, that would definitely be a safe pick. And actually, it's a natural progression. The IC title holder going up for the world title. That's always a thing in all of the IC title. Kind of, if you look at most IC title, like 90% of the men's roster, whoever held on to Intercontinental title, ended up being a world champion at some point. So why not kind of reestablish that kind of trajectory, that path with Lyra Valkyria going up for the world title? So we kind of separated the roster, and let's go ahead and what is going to be my pick? Boy, oh boy, what's going to be my pick to be the champion, to hold it down forever? I think the easy thing is it's going to be Bayley. Bayley world champion with the heel coming back. It's kind of interesting, you know, you had Naomi and Bayley being friends, if they want to kind of continue down the proceed with caution, if this is going to be a temporary thing, because I feel like the voices in her head, they feel like a temporary thing. It feels like a shortcut to a deeper, sinister Bayley than I ever seen before. There's no action, there's no like heel turn, there's no like her beating up Lyra, there's no her, you know, beating up Becky. I know that'd be a face thing, but you know what I mean? There's nothing of that with no action, because it feels like there's no action behind what they want to do. I think it'd be safe to have Stephanie VACATES go up against Bayley, and then Bayley winning and Bayley becoming champion, and putting the rocket on heel Bayley and seeing where that goes, and seeing if they could kind of, I guess, literally be a surrogate for the Naomi character and having a heel Bayley. So that's gonna be my pick. I know I went with the safe choice, but I feel like the WWE is gonna go with the safe choice as well. Let me know who you think should be the next women's champion in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and hey, be sure to sub for more. Adios.